2 million years ago, a creature that looked something like you stood at the edge of a grassland in East Africa. It was small. It was slow. It had no claws worth mentioning, no fangs, no fur thick enough to survive a cold night. But it had something no other animal on the planet had: 2 legs, and the stubborn willingness to use them to walk in a straight line for days. This is the story of how humans conquered the globe. Not with ships, not with wheels, not with roads, but by walking, and occasionally by floating on a log. The first migration out of Africa didn't happen the way you might imagine. There was no exodus, no single moment where a group of humans looked at the horizon and said, "Let's go." It was slower than that. Much slower. Homo erectus, our ancient ancestor, began expanding beyond Africa around 1.8 million years ago. We know this because of a place called Dmanisi in what is now the country of Georgia. Fossils found there represent the oldest hominins ever discovered outside of Africa. These were small-brained, frail creatures. Not the powerful, tool-wielding conquerors you might picture. They didn't plan a migration. They followed food, they followed water, they followed seasons, and over thousands of generations they walked. That's the first thing you need to understand about ancient human migration. There was no transportation, not in the way we think of it today. No horses would be domesticated for another 1.8 million years. The wheel wouldn't be invented for another 1.75 million years. The only vehicle early humans had was their own body, specifically a body built for bipedal walking. And that body was extraordinary. Bipedalism, walking on 2 legs, is arguably the most important adaptation in human evolutionary history. It's wildly inefficient for sprinting. A cheetah can hit 70 miles per hour. A human tops out around 28, and only for a few seconds. But for distance, for endurance, humans are among the best walkers on Earth. Our long legs, our spring-like Achilles tendons, our ability to sweat and regulate body temperature while moving, all of these made us nature's ultimate slow but never-stopping machine. Some anthropologists believe early humans were persistence hunters, chasing prey for hours until the animal collapsed from heat exhaustion. Whether or not that's true, the physical adaptations are real. We were built to walk. And walk we did. Homo erectus spread across Asia. Fossils have been found in China and Indonesia dating back over 1 million years. They walked the coastlines of the Indian Ocean. They followed river valleys through the Middle East. They moved at a pace that would make modern commuters dizzy with impatience, perhaps 10 to 20 miles in a good day, and then weeks or months of staying in one place before moving again. But then something changed. Around 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens, modern humans, began their own journey out of Africa. And this time, the migration was different. It was faster. It was more ambitious, and it involved something Homo erectus never attempted: crossing the open ocean to reach Australia, or, as it was known then, Sahul, a combined landmass of Australia, New Guinea, and the Aru Islands. Humans had to cross a stretch of open water at least 55 miles wide. There were no land bridges to Australia. There was no ice to walk across. They had to build something that floated. We don't know exactly what these first watercraft looked like because wood rots and none survived. But archaeologists believe they were simple rafts, perhaps bundles of reeds lashed together, or hollowed-out logs. Maybe the first dugout canoes? The technology was rudimentary, but the act was revolutionary. This was the first time any human had intentionally built a vehicle to cross a body of water they couldn't see the other side of. It was the invention of transportation. Think about that. For 1.8 million years, the only way humans moved was by putting one foot in front of the other. And then, somewhere between 50,000 and 65,000 years ago, someone looked at the ocean, looked at a tree, and thought, I can make those two things work together. The crossing to Sahul wasn't a single dramatic voyage. It was likely a series of island hops, short crossings between visible islands, each one a few miles of open water. But the final stretch to Australia required crossing open ocean with no land in sight. These people were navigating by currents, by wind patterns, by the flight paths of birds, and by a courage that's difficult to fathom. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, humans were preparing for a different kind of crossing. During the last ice age, so much water was locked up in glaciers that sea levels dropped by up to 400 feet. This exposed a land bridge between Siberia and Alaska, a vast, cold, treeless plain called Beringia. Humans crossed it on foot. Again, no transportation. Just walking. Following herds of mammoth and caribou across a frozen landscape that would be underwater again in a few thousand years. From there, they spread south, down through North America, through Central America, all the way to the tip of South America. A journey of over 10,000 miles, completed in what may have been as little as 1,500 years. That's an average of about 7 miles per year, slower than a glacier, but relentless, unstoppable. So what was ancient human transportation? The honest answer is feet. For the vast majority of human history, the only way to get from one continent to another was to walk there. The only vehicle was the human body. A bipedal endurance machine that could walk 20 miles in a day, recover overnight, and do it again the next day, and the next for a lifetime. The first upgrade was the raft, a bundle of reeds, a hollowed log, something that could carry a few people across a few miles of water. It doesn't sound impressive, but it took humans to Australia. It took humans to islands across the Pacific. It was the beginning of every ship, every boat, every vessel that would ever follow. And then there were dogs. Around 15,000 to 20,000 years ago, humans domesticated wolves. Dogs didn't carry people. Not for thousands of years, but they carried gear. They pulled travois, simple sled-like frames made of wooden poles. They helped humans move across frozen landscapes with supplies that would have been impossible to carry alone. The dog was humanity's second transportation invention, after the raft. No wheels, no roads, no maps, no compass, no metal, no engines, just feet, logs, and dogs. And with those three things, humans managed to reach every habitable continent on Earth, from the savannas of Africa to the ice of Antarctica's doorstep, from the deserts of Australia to the mountains of the Andes. The next time you get frustrated sitting in traffic, remember this. Your ancestors crossed oceans on a bundle of sticks. They walked 10,000 miles through frozen tundra. They did it without a map, without a GPS, and without a single paved road. They didn't need transportation. They were the transportation. If you found this interesting, subscribe for more videos on the hidden science behind human history. And if you've ever taken a really long walk, the kind where your feet hurt for days, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.